it's Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb, and on this video, we're going to talk about why you should consider doing a 16-hour fast, an 8-hour eating window of intermittent fasting, a 16-8 intermittent fasting, coming up next. Hey, it's Elizabeth, Countess of Low Carb. I have lost 67 pounds through keto, through intermittent fasting, and on my weight loss journey, I've learned a ton about intermittent fasting. And on today's episode, I want to talk a little bit about a 16-8 intermittent fasting window, of what that means and why you should consider doing it, with my top 5 reasons of why you should do a 16-8 intermittent fasting eating window. So if you like this video, give it a big old thumbs up. Make sure you click subscribe down below 16-8 in the comments so I know to do more videos just like this. Comments dictate the videos that I do. Now let's dive into the content. Let's talk a little bit about the vernacular, the words here. 16-hour fast, an 8-hour eating window. And in that 16-hour fasting time, you can have water, sparkling water, coffee, tea. Dr. Fung, who I call the daddy of intermittent fasting, has a great book called The Complete Guide to Fasting, which I will link down in the description link below. Read it, go to the library and get it, ask a friend to borrow it, purchase it on my Amazon link below, like whatever you need to do to get your hands on that book. It's a really good book, and Dr. Fung is the daddy because he has scientific research to back this, not woo-woo theory. It's actual medically really what's going on within our bodies. And why for centuries warriors have used this diet, why spiritual gurus have used this diet, way of life, lifestyle, eating things. So for a 16-8, a 16-hour eating, a 16-hour fasting window, an 8-hour eating window, what are the benefits and why you should consider it? The first one is that for centuries people have done this. It's because of the mental clarity that one gets through fasting. And really at a 16-8, that's the first tipping point for autophagy, which is tip number 2, is autophagy is where your body is eating the junk cells first. And so say you have like a skin tag, it's going to eat those junk cells first, and that's going to help that skin tag. If you have a precancerous cell, it's going to chomp. Your body's going to eat through autophagy. It's a self-eating mechanism. It's going to eat that precancerous cell first. So it's eating the bad cells first through fasting, and you kick autophagy off. The bare bones minimum with that is a 16-8, a 16-hour eating window, a 16-hour fasting window, an 8-hour eating window. I don't know why I keep flipping that. It's a 16-hour fasting window. So through autophagy, doing that, that's my tip number 2 of why you should consider doing this, is that at a 16-8 is when autophagy starts. If you have any sort of protein, and this is changing some of further research that I've done, is changing some of my previous intermittent fasting videos, but autophagy, if you start having protein, i.e. having heavy cream, if you're having any sort of protein, go along the protein chains of butter is protein, having protein things in it, in your coffee or your tea, that is going to stop or lessen autophagy. So be mindful if you're having something, say a Starbucks coffee, maybe consider getting it black during your 16-hour fasting window so you can still roll through with your autophagy. Some people's window, and my school of thought has been at some point during my fasting career, is that I'd rather have a longer fasting time but with less autophagy. Some people, the inverse, is they'd rather have more autophagy with a lesser fasting window. You do what's best for you, but on this video, I'm going to recommend try just having coffee, tea, water, sparkling water, and that's basically it during that 16-8. Obviously, if you have to have certain medications, have the certain medications. Don't not take your medication, but restrain from things like vitamins or having like lemon in your water. Keeping it as clean, and I mean like as clean as you possibly can. Tip number 3 is if you do a 3-day fast, a 72-hour fasting window, it helps completely rebuild and restructure your immune system. So share this video with somebody who has an autoimmune disorder. If they need help with their autoimmune disease, fasting, intermittent fasting may be the way for them. And a 16-8 is the way to start that. Tip number 4 is you feel amazing from a fast. Is we already talked about the mental clarity that comes from it, but more energy. I'm already a high energy person, but having more energy is advantageous through running multiple businesses, having a hot husband, being a mom to a toddler. Like having more energy is always optimal. And how we feel better about ourselves too, right? Like that self-esteem is tied to that. When we do esteemable things, we have more self-esteem. And so through knowing we can do things and coming from an eating disorder background, knowing that food doesn't have that power over me anymore is such a self-esteem booster. I'm not a slave to food anymore. I tell the food when I eat. There's more control in that, and that feels really, really good. My next tip is that, and final tip of why you should consider doing a 16/8 intermittent fasting, is it lessens your food costs. If you're not eating as much, you don't pay as much in your food bill. So if you're trying to save some money, intermittent fasting is a great way to do that. So if that was helpful for you, put 16/8 down in the comments below. That lets me know comments of what videos I should do more of. So 16/8 down in the comments, and also make sure you give this video a big old thumbs up if you want to see more videos just like it, and make sure that you click subscribe to see all things keto, all things intermittent fasting. Bye guys, make it a powerful